Hi there, Kendra Tolbert here. I'm a registered dietitian and yoga teacher, and I specialize in women's health and fertility. This is the second video in our three-part series all about nutrition and yoga to support egg quality. This video and all of the videos in this series are sponsored by TheraLogix. TheraLogix is an amazing supplement company that I have trusted and recommended for nearly a decade at this point. I will tell you more about them and two of their supplements that you might want to explore if you are at all interested in supporting your egg quality with supplements later on in this video. Before we start talking about the different ways that you can use nutrition to influence your egg quality, it feels important that we get clear on what is meant by egg quality so that we're on the same page. So when I refer to egg quality or oocyte quality, what I'm referring to is the ability of that egg to, once fertilized and implanted, become a healthy live baby. This, in part, has to do with its morphology, so its shape, its structure, and how normal it is chromosomally. So how many chromosomes are actually within that egg. That's what I'm referring to. Now, this is very different than egg quantity or ovarian reserve. So this is not at all something that can be measured through AMH. I know sometimes you might come across things online that suggest that AMH is a measure of egg quality, but it's not. It's an indirect measure of egg quantity. At the time of this recording, I don't know of any easily accessible, readily available, routinely conducted lab test or ultrasounds or anything like that that can be done to assess one's egg quality. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, that has changed, but at the time of this recording, I don't think there are any ways to do that. And remember, we already talked about the fact that AMH is not a way to assess egg quality. It's an indirect measure of egg quantity. Now, while I don't know of any tests that can tell you what your egg quality is, I do know that we can influence our egg quality because a number of things impact our egg quality. And some of those things include environmental exposures, lifestyle habits like drinking, smoking, and drug use, oxidative stress, metabolic and chronic health conditions, and, of course, nutrition. When it comes to nutrition for egg quality, I have 4 specific goals. And those goals are to make sure that you are getting an ample amounts of antioxidants from your foods and beverages to protect your eggs from oxidative damage, to make sure that you are getting an adequate amount of energy from your foods and your beverages to provide your ovaries with the energy, the actual fuel that your developing eggs need, to support blood flow to and from your ovaries by eating foods that support the health of your blood vessels, and to optimize insulin sensitivity and blood sugar balance. Let's take a closer look at goal number 1, get an ample amounts of antioxidants. Antioxidants are the compounds that counter the effects of free radicals. Now, free radicals are compounds that can damage our cells, and they can damage their cellular membranes, and they can also damage their DNA. So those are definitely not things that we want to have occur unnecessarily or excessively when we are thinking about supporting our egg quality. But like I said, antioxidants actually can neutralize the effect of those free radicals. And we can get those antioxidants from things like supplements, as well as foods and beverages. So I'm going to give you a few examples of antioxidants and the foods that they come from. This is not an exhaustive list. We would be here all day, but this should give you an idea of some of the foods, beverages, herbs, and spices, and supplements that you might want to explore to support your antioxidant capacity. So the first example of an antioxidant that I'm going to share is vitamin E. Vitamin E is found in foods like nuts and seeds. The mineral zinc is also an antioxidant, and you'll find ample amounts of zinc in things like fish and shellfish, most notably oysters, as well as legumes. Lycopene is another antioxidant, and it's responsible for the color that we see in a lot of the pink and red fruits and vegetables. So eating pink and red fruits and vegetables is one way that you can make sure that you are getting in lots of lycopene. So some examples would be tomatoes and watermelon. Quercetin is also found in a variety of plant foods, and you can find it in things like green tea and onions. And the antioxidant that gets probably the most attention in the world of fertility nutrition is CoQ10. You can find CoQ10 in foods, but we usually talk about it in supplemental form when we're talking about it for fertility. But here are a couple of food sources of it. So organ meats and whole grains. Like I said, we usually talk about it in terms of supplements, and two of my favorite supplements that contain CoQ10 are by TheraLogics. TheraLogics is one of my go-to sources for supplements to support reproductive health. While I adore many of their products, there are two that I'm especially smitten with right now, and those are NeoQ10 and OvaVite. NeoQ10 is their coenzyme Q10 supplement. CoQ10 is one of the most studied, trusted, and recommended antioxidants for egg quality health. Their TheraNatal OvaVite is their preconception supplement, which contains TheraNatal Core, which is a fertility-supporting multivitamin, as well as CoQ10. You can use my provider referral code 100368 for preferred pricing. You'll find the links to NeoQ10 and TheraNatal OvaVite in the description box below. Thank you, TheraLogics, for supporting this video and this series. In addition to or in lieu of exploring supplements to amp up your antioxidants, here are some simple ways that you can make nutrition changes by adding things to your diet to get in more antioxidants. You can snack on nuts or sprinkle seeds onto salads. You can switch up your protein choices at meals by aiming to have low mercury, oily fish or shellfish, and legumes in place of meat or poultry a few days a week. You can delight your senses by eating a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables and flavoring your food with different herbs and spices. You can choose to enjoy a couple of cups of tea each day. And you can make half of your grains whole by eating more whole grains, or maybe just finding an organ meat recipe that you haven't tried before. It can be nice to try something new. Now let's take a look at goal number 2. Ensure that you are getting in enough energy from your foods and beverages. It takes a lot of energy for your eggs to develop and mature. And that energy comes from food. More specifically, it comes from the macronutrients. So those are the nutrients that our body needs in larger amounts. And those are the nutrients that actually provide calories, energy. Those nutrients are carbohydrates, fat, and protein. That is where we get the energy that we need to fuel everything that happens in our body, including everything that's happening in our ovaries. Without question, the most common thing that I see when I'm working with my one-on-one clients who are having issues consistently ovulating is under eating. Remember, we said that it takes energy to fuel the development of our eggs. So what I see quite often is that people are either not getting in enough calories or they're avoiding carbs and fat. Sometimes they're skipping meals, but often when we are able to get them to eat enough calories, stop avoiding carbs and fat, and start eating meals regularly, ovulation returns and it becomes more regular. To me, this is a clear sign that their ovaries are finally getting the energy that they so desperately needed to fuel the proper development of eggs. I would encourage you to question any beliefs that you have around the idea that you need to count your macros, count your calories, control your portion sizes, or in any way micromanage what you eat in an attempt to stay small or get smaller. As much as possible, I encourage you to get more comfortable with trusting your body's wisdom and the cues that it gives you, that it may need more to eat. It is constantly communicating to us that it is time to eat through hunger cues, and is constantly communicating to us that we have enough through fullness cues. Honor those more than you do any sort of external rules or ideas that may have been placed on you about how much you should be eating. Your body is your best guide. Goal number 3, support optimal circulation by eating foods that support artery health. Our eggs are nurtured by the blood that carries nourishment to and waste away from our ovaries. So circulation really is crucial for our egg quality. We can support that circulation and we can support the health of our blood vessels by choosing foods that keep our blood vessels healthy. That can look like regularly enjoying foods that promote or enhance vasodilation. We can also enjoy foods that keep the blood vessels flexible and strong. All of this is going to promote this free and easy flow of blood. Examples of foods that can help us reach this goal include things like herbs and spices, leafy greens, fish and shellfish, and beets. We can also support optimal circulation by supporting optimal insulin levels and blood sugar levels, which just happens to be our 4th goal. Our 4th goal, optimize insulin sensitivity and blood sugar balance, is something that I'm constantly talking to my one-on-one clients about. And that's because insulin resistance is associated with things like increased oxidative damage, cellular aging, and damage to the arteries that carry that very, very important blood and nourishment to our ovaries. So often when there's a conversation around insulin resistance, we immediately jump to the idea that we need to avoid sugar or limit carbohydrates, and I have not found that to be true or necessary or sustainable. Instead, what I encourage people to do is pair their carbohydrate-rich foods and sugar-rich foods with foods that are also rich in fiber, fat, and protein. That fiber, fat, and protein is going to slow down how quickly your body breaks down the carbohydrates and absorbs the carbohydrates so that you don't have a dramatic change in your insulin levels or blood sugar levels. You can balance out your carbohydrates by simply making sure that you are also eating those carb-rich foods with protein, fat, and fiber. That might look like having rice and beans with sauteed bell peppers and pickled red onions and avocado. It might look like having grits with collard greens and sausage for breakfast. Or it could look like having pasta with seafood and vegetables. So as you can see, it's not about limiting carbs or avoiding carbs. It's about pairing those carb-rich foods with protein, fat, and fiber. I'm going to keep saying that. Protein, fat, and fiber with carbs. It's a winning combination. I've given you a lot of ideas that you can begin to explore and implement in your life. I actually would love to hear what sort of things you plan to do. So please let me know in the comment section below how you are going to apply some of the information that you learned in this video to your everyday life. As you're thinking about which changes you would like to adopt, remember to keep it simple. You don't have to do everything, and you definitely don't have to do it perfectly. So make it easy on yourself. It's allowed to be easy. Thank you again to TheraLogics for sponsoring this video and this entire series. Make sure to take a look at the description box below where you will find links to OvaVite and NeoQ10 as well as my provider referral code so that you can get preferred pricing. I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, be well and bye for now.